Hello. So we're going to talk about self-confidence today. Before we get to the more details about this concept, in lieu of motivational processes, I want to review what we have learned so far. Okay, so outline of a motivational lectures series again, and we have a total of 5 lectures, and we learned a lot of theories through motivational lecture series number 1 and then number 2, which was flow experience, a special form of intrinsic motivation, then achievement motivation, which was motivational lecture series 3. So now we are moving down to motivational lecture series 4 and 5, which are the concept or psychological factors that impact, influence, affect motivational processes as mediator or promoting factors. So we have a self-confidence topic and the goal setting strategy. So we're going to start with the self-confidence today. All right, self-confidence outline of the lecture today will be 8 topics, only 8. So you will see how fast I can move with this. So we will start with the benefit of this, and then we will end at number 8, practical implications. Then you will do lab activity through island. Okay. So let me start with the number 1. So benefit of a strong question mark here. So if we have this, these are the positive ABC outcomes. So increase positive emotion. So your emotion will be more positive side, improve your attention capability, concentration. It influences the setting and pursuing of a challenging goals. If you have a strong this, then you're more likely to set challenging goals to pursue. And it also affects the effort level in terms of a frequency, intensity, and the duration. If you have a stronger one, then you're more likely to put more effort into the task that you are performing. It also affects game strategies. You know, some people play to win versus some people play not to lose. And we have seen that quite a bit in our PPK personal experiences. If you have a strong of this, you tend to perform to achieve and win. If you have a strong this concept, psychological factor, it affects your psychological momentum and your flow experience. Even if you have a strong this, you tend to interpret stress as what? Something controllable, something you can manage. Here we go, facilitating factor. What is this? You all know this, right? This is the topic of self-confidence today. Yes, it's self-confidence. So now, number 1, okay, that's great if you have self-confidence optimal level of it, you will have a really positive outcome like this. Then by the way, what is a self-confidence? That's a number 2. And I have asked this question in previous lectures, and then you beautifully answered already using your PPK. It is about what? Your beliefs that you can successfully perform a desired behavior, and it's your beliefs that I can do it. That's your simple answer, and that is true. That's a confidence of, that's definition of self-confidence. However, I have 2 questions as you can see on the slide. The first question is, what if you believe you can do it now, but you don't know whether you can continue improve or be able to do it tomorrow or a week later? Or vice versa, or reverse way. I cannot do it today. My confidence is not there, but I am pretty confident some days later. Do you see that? Where I'm getting another question. If you believe that you can, what if you believe you can do it physically? Yeah, I can do it physically today, but my mentally I'm so dreadful, tired, and fatigued. Or it could be the other around. Mentally, you're just determined to do it, but your body is not matching with your mental strength. It can cannot be just unidimensional, particularly self-confidence in physical activity setting and sports settings. So Dr. Bewley and her colleagues and other sports psychologists, um, I mean, just a simple unidimensional definition of confidence is good as a startup, but it doesn't really help to apply that concept into very dynamic sports setting or physical activity setting. So they expanded that definition as a multidimensional concept. So in physical activity setting, including sports, competitive sports setting, confidence is about one's ability to execute physical activity, to use psychological skills, to use perceptual skills, such as like decision makings and being able to adjust, adapt yourself into very dynamic, unforeseen situations. Also, is confidence about what? Perceived confidence about level of physical fitness and training status, preparation. Also, confidence about learning potentials or ability to improve his, her, or their skills. So, do we need all of them to achieve your goal? Maybe not. Different combination, different balances may work better for different people. That's what we need to understand as a leader, and also understand that concept for your own performance as a leader and then for your followers. Another thing that I want to emphasize here, as you can see from multidimensional confidence definition right there, definition of self-confidence through this multidimensional approach, it's not just about achieving outcomes. Also, confidence include about improving their performance. That's what I want to emphasize. So in our life, it's not all about the outcome. If we believe in we can do better every single time, that will take us to better outcomes. So we gotta be patient in our improvement process. All right, so we did a number 1, number 2. Now moving to number 3 out of 8 topics I told you, and we're almost halfway through. This lecture will be very short, right? So my next question, that confidence that we defined unidimensionally and multidimensionally, are trait or state? So again, trait means a psychological core that we learned a while ago. So you're born with it, it's tended to be very stable and stay in your personality. It doesn't change. That's a trait, okay? Or it's a state, something that you can develop over time, or it's a typical responses, right? Or it can be role related. Depending on what I do, your confidence fluctuate. What is it? What is it based on your PPK? Is it trait or state? All right, go to Island, and there you will see that choice activity with a question mark, and then click what you believe based on your PPK. Here, short video again, Dr. Robin Bewley, who really conceptualized sports confidence in our sports psychology field, really talks about, very short video, what is the sports confidence from both trait and state perspective. And I want you to watch this in your time, okay? All right, moving. State self-confidence. Oh, why we have only state self-confidence? You will see. You go to that choice, and then a lot of people actually believe, based on their PPK, self-confidence is more sustained, not really trait. And researchers agree with you. There are some researchers looking at self-confidence as a trait. It is sure. They take it as a trait, and then there are some theories about that. However, in much dynamic, environmentally dynamic, and between interpersonally dynamic activity like physical activity, sports, physical education, even rehab settings, self-confidence plays better role as a state to help them improve their performance and or even to understand their psychological processes. So along with our majority of researchers in our field, we will take self-confidence as a state in this course. All right. So what is a state self-confidence? That's a belief of a certainty that individuals have at a particular moment about their ability to succeed. Particular moment. So today it's good. Tomorrow may not. And with this particular task, I could be confident, not with another one. So it can be changed depending on the situation. That's a state self-confidence. All right, moving down. So we did a number 1, 2, 3. Now you can see 3, change it to state self-confidence. Got it? Now I'm moving down to number 4. So my next question is, state self-confidence changes depending on situation, depending on time, right? Then what are the source of our state self-confidence? What makes you feel confident? Where are those that state confidence in a certain moment, where they are coming from? That's my next question, which is the number 4. Think about your confidence. Where do your confidence coming from, or de-confidence, so low confidence? Why do you feel not confident? When do you feel you are confident? Ask yourself that question. And that's what you need to figure out with your followers as well, where their confidence are coming from, so that you can help them to build up their confidence, because we're taking confidence as a state, something that can be developed and strengthened, right? Based on the research, these are the factors: personality factors and the environmental factors. And person who has high intrinsic motivation or task orientation, as we learned, they tend to have a strong self-confidence. And if they have wrong motivation, unhealthy motivation, their confidence fluctuate. If they have a trait anxiety, which I do have for myself, your confidence could fluctuate. So that's a personality factors. Motivational climates, leaders' behaviors, and a leaders' reinforcement skills, like how leader interact, how coach interact with the players, how teacher interact with students, how therapists interact with their patients. That fluctuate followers, performers' self-confidence level. That's a number 4. So we finished the number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to talk about number 5, okay, and 6. Before we get to number 5, I want to have this whole picture. Look at this figure. It's a complete the figure to understand self-confidence. So number 4, number 1, then self-confidence number 2 is in the middle. So as you can see, these factors, number 4, are called independent variables. And these outcome variables here, consequences, are called dependent variables. And you have learned these terms through Kin 384 research method in kinesiology and GWAR course. And they talk about these terminologies. Independent variables basically manipulate, affect, influence, predict outcome variables, which are dependent variables. These dependent variables are affected, influenced, are predicted, and manipulated by independent variables. So these are independent variables, these are dependent variables. Then self-confidence stays right smack in the middle. What the heck is that? That's a number 5. So number 5 is called mediator. Oh, what is the mediator? This variable name, not independent variable, not dependent variable. Mediator means this variable explains mechanisms between these two relationships, the relationship between independent variable, dependent variable there, but mediator in the middle try to explain these two relationships, why that is happening. Okay, I'm going to give you more examples so that you can understand the role of a mediators. Here we go. So motivational climate we learned earlier before this topic. Improvement effort climate, what is it? Mastery climate, task involving climate, same term. Competitive climate, which is ego involving climate or performance climate. So do you think, let me ask you that question, do you think if you create task involving climate or mastery climate, does that predict your championship? Does it help you to get good grade? Does it help you to get fitness gram score high? If you create positive climate, does it help you to recover faster? This climate that we are trying to create as a leader today, that climate really produce the outcome directly? Maybe yes, little bit, but not whole thing. I mean, just think about your own PPK. If I, as a professor in the classroom, create really like improving and effort, the positive feedback climate, does it make you really get A in the class? Little bit, not whole thing, right? What it does actually, this climate, not really do not really predict the outcome itself, but it really influence what? Psychological process of me. If my teacher, my coach, really encourage me to do well and improve every single time I try, that kind of a climate, it's not really producing my outcome, but it really helps me what? Confidence. This is a multi-dimensional definition of confidence right in the middle. That climate helped me to execute my physical skills without fear of making mistake. It really helps me psychological skills. If I make a mistake, my teacher is right there to encourage to improve, so you don't have to worry about it. You just continue working hard. And if you have a positive climate, it really helps me to believe that I can improve, right? So it influences that factor, which then predict what? Outcome, because it's me. So do you remember one of a video clip where coach said a coach stated that he cannot make players motivated, but he could facilitate, inspire his players to be motivated. It's exactly the same thing. This climate could indirectly help for the outcomes, but not really that much. It's more of influencing psychological processes, which is more of self-confidence right here, which actually predicted directly my confidence level, directly my outcome. So researchers actually tested statistically how much direct climate predict the outcome. Yeah, it predicted some, about 11%. So when these scores are called regression coefficients, statistic terms, or path coefficients. When you square them, it translates into the percentages. So when you put them together, climate predict about 11% of outcome. Not significant at all. However, when you put self-confidence as a mediator to predict the outcome, climate predicts self-confidence, then self-confidence predicts directly performance outcomes. And when you square this regression coefficients, then it goes up to about 50%, right? 50% of a predictability versus what? Now 11% predictability, absolutely different story, right? So remember, when you are implementing your strategies, interacting as a leader with your followers, you're not trying to get them to this outcome. You are working on their self-efficacy. So, achievement goal theory right here. Where do you see self-confidence from this figure? Spot it. Can you spot it? Self-confidence right there? Yeah, right here. Perceived ability. So personality factors, climate factors, predict perceived ability, which predict outcomes. Got it? How about self-determination theory? Can you spot self-confidence concept right there? Yeah, right here. Competence, perceived competence influenced by situational factors, which also could be influenced by personal factors that predict psychological needs, basic needs. One of them is confidence, which predict different motivational regulations leading to the consequences outcome. So we finished number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we are moving to number 6. Oh, 5 is here. This is 4. So 5 is here in number 6. Number 6 question. How high is self-confidence good enough to experience peak performance? PP means peak performance. Higher is better? Or what? What did you say in the percentage? 1 to 100%. 100% is like you are absolutely confident. Of course, 1 means not at all. Where do you think is better for your best performance? About 70%, maybe up to 80%. Just above the middle. This is optimal level of self-confidence. If you have too little, what does that mean? You feel anxious, nervous, and you feel about the performance. Maybe the task is too much or you're underprepared. If it's too much, then task could be too easy for you, and then that's not good. And if you have overconfidence, what happened? You tend to underprepare. So when you actually face the activity, then you realize you're underprepared. So that's the problem. So how high is good? Just right above your the average. So about 70%, 80% still okay. No less than 60%, I would say. That's just the right level of self-confidence. So we answered the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then next slide, I will talk about self-efficacy, and we will learn that concept that we always talk about it. What is the self-confidence and what is the self-efficacy? You know what? Self-efficacy is a slightly different concept, which I will explain in the next video lecture.